Peace, everybody. You are listening to the Classroom and the Cell podcast. This is your brother, Marc Hill, and I'm joined by
Mumia Abu-Jamal.
Mumia. It's interesting. I said today I want to talk to you about something a little bit lighter. Maybe it's lighter. You're from Philly, so you might think it's super serious. Baseball season just started. The Phillies home opener was yesterday. And, I remember, I didn't get a chance to see the home opener, but I remember growing up and going to my uncle's house, and he would tell me, I'd watch the Phillies, and he would always tell me about all the racism in sports, especially the Phillies. I was cheering for him in the 80s. He'd be like, man, they just got a black player yesterday, and we would sort of have these serious conversations about racism in sports. And then I heard other people talk about places like Detroit, where in the midst of racial strife, it was the Detroit Tigers that brought people together. I think about Black Lives Matter and the NBA and the players wearing the shirts. I think so. I guess what I'm saying is I see sports playing out in so many interesting ways, and I wanted your take on it. But then I realized I don't even know how in the sports you are.
Guess what?
What?
Not much.
How did that happen?
I remember as a little boy, my father had taken me to the baseball game. And
Connie Mack. You go to Connie Mack Stadium.
Connie Mack Stadium, the one that was down in South Philly. I love being with my dad.
This is a call from
Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Mahanoy.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
I love being with my father. So if we had to go to the moon, I'd be cool with that. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But I would sit there bored to tears. I was a chubby little boy, but the only thing I cared about was hot dogs and pretzels. That's it.
Wow.
I would look out there and honest engine, especially after I ate a few hot dogs and some pretzels, I would go to sleep. Because I truth be told, I played sports as a young man in the neighborhood, in the projects.
Yeah.
But I was never coordinated enough to really play it well. I would be one of the bigger guys on the team, but the guy that really couldn't shoot. I would throw bricks. And if I played baseball, I might swing and I wouldn't miss, but I wouldn't hit no homers, and I was just not into that. And the funny thing, I got on death row, and the only sport you could play, because when you left the cell, you go into a cage, was handball. And I fell in love with handball. I felt, because it's only big enough in the cage for you and another guy. So we would play handball off of concrete, because three walls would be these cyclone fences. The other would be a concrete wall. So that thing came off like a bullet. And it was like the most wonderful exercise you could have, but also fun. Because we're in a cage, we rarely lost our ball. So we would play at first 1 hour and then for 2 hours in the hot sun, just going. And it was, most people don't consider death row a place of fun, but if you play handball, you're playing handball against another guy.
This is a call from
Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Mahanoy.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
And your buddy is competitive, man, it was great fun. I've known guys to break their hands trying to get a shot on that concrete below us, or dive and break an arm and all that. I never went that far.
Nah, I bet. But did you get good enough at it? Like, did you get good enough at it that you felt competitive, especially given your lack of sports background?
I got so good at it that I would dare dudes to come in, and it was only one dude that was kind of better than me. It was a guy from Pittsburgh. I think he was originally from Philly, but he came from the death row in Pittsburgh and came up to Huntington, and his name was we called him NC because his family was from North Carolina. He was amazing. He could make any shot. But I had been around guys who were older guys who showed me tricks, and I could play it very, very well. And after playing it for years, you build up stamina, and you could. Your greatest intent was to make a shot and make the ball roll back, because nobody could get that.
Right. Is it like backspin?
like backspin it, and it hits the mark on the wall and rolls back. That's an automatic point. So I mean,
my brother used to clown handball, and then when he got locked up, he started calling, saying he was getting better. First he would talk trash about it. Then he said, "I played a little bit to get some exercise." Then about 6 months later, he's like, "Yo, man, I even beat the Puerto Ricans from North Philly." I was like,
well, I beat a Puerto Rican from Pittsburgh, but I must tell you, I cheated my ass off. I mean, this was a guy who was like 20 years my junior, and he had muscles on his muscle. But he was a black Puerto Rican, and the problem is, I found out he didn't know Spanish. Because, his mom raised him and all that. But he's one of these guys that had 15 names, right? And the guy was very, very good. But I knew I could beat him psychologically because, when he had me at a point and I was tiring, I would say a word in Spanish and it would freeze him, and I'd make my shot. Boom! I was like, igualmente. It ain't cool. I'm not proud of it, but, all's fair in love and war and sports. And let me tell you something. It was great fun, man. Because this cat, he would take names because he was that good.
So did your growing interest in sports make you turn back on TV? Because in prison a lot of times TV is you turn on that TV, everybody's watching the football game or the basketball game or maybe less so the baseball game these days. But
everybody is, but I can't because I didn't grow up like that. It doesn't move me. I rarely watch any sport except women's tennis, sometimes men's tennis when, the greats are playing, because I've seen such excellent. A brother named Kareem turned me on. He said, "Moo, there's these two sisters who've taken over tennis." I said, "Sisters? You mean black women?" He said, "Yeah, but they sisters." I said, "Come on, man, stop playing."
They sisters and sisters.
He said, "Brother, you ain't never seen nothing like it. You never will again." I tuned in, brother, and I couldn't tune out. It was so I seen them grow, from teenagers into grown women and master the sport.
Yeah.
And, it was just, whenever they played, man, I couldn't take my eyes off of them because they did such, and I mean Venus and Serena, they did so much amazing play. I saw Serena play a game once on one leg and win it. I'm like, God damn, girl.
Yeah.
What are you doing? She had a Charlie horse in her leg, and she hit it with her tennis racket, and she willed herself to play and still won. I said, boy, that's just, come on.
Yeah, that's something else. That's another level.
That's another level. So,
Man.
Yeah, I still got some sports in me, but, nothing approximates life like tennis or boxing because it's, mano y mano and one-on-one.
Man, well, look, I was going to say, Mike Tyson is about to fight this big fight, or maybe it's a not-so-big fight. I don't know, but at 57 years old, he's about to fight Jake Paul, this YouTuber, 31-year-old, 31, something like that. I forget Jake Paul's exact age, but Mike Tyson's still out there in the ring boxing, and
wow.
I had some concerns. I mean, Jake Paul is a young guy, and actually Jake Paul's 27. Excuse me, he's 27. Mike Tyson is 30 years his senior. But then I watched Mike Tyson train. To your point about mano a mano,
yeah.
And I'm like, the way Mike is training and the way Mike is looking and the way he was able to shred all that body fat into muscle and it seemed like overnight and the way his energy. I'm like, this is a sweet science, and this is just a gift, and he is a boxing savant.
Listen, there's a reason why he was the youngest champion in the history of the sport. And what's frustrating about a Mike Tyson fight is if you blink, it's over. Yeah.
We used to be mad with the cable, but we bought a chipped-up cable box back. The statute of limitations is over now, plus my dad dead. But, yeah, he would get he would go up the way and buy these cable boxes that had the chip in it so we get the pay-per-view for free.
Right.
And we'd watch the fight because before we did that, you spend $30 for a Mike Tyson fight, you go to pop the popcorn, you come back out.
It's over.
Oh, yeah. My man is on his wallet, sleep. Mike is all places due to Allah. I ate his lunch. I'm going home. Mike was already walking back to the dressing room. He already gave his post-game speech. And
he'd be dry as a bone.
Yeah. Then you work up a sweat, and you done spent $30, $40, $50. So
Hey,
I
man, he was a phenomenon, bro. Phenomenon. Yeah, I was a fan. I got some dirty letters because I said, listen, I'm a Mike fan. Sorry. And some sisters didn't like it, but man, as a boxer, you've never seen anything like this guy.
Supremely talented, supremely talented. And
man.
I think sometimes as intellectuals, we put the athlete in a different category,
Right.
And sometimes for good reason, I guess. But I think there's a way that even when I watch athletes train, and same way that when I watch musicians do their thing, I learn lessons that have shaped my intellectual work in terms of discipline.
You have 1 minute left.
Well, Mike,
in terms
that's
of
another
style.
form of intellectualism, but it's the intellectualism of movement and space.
Yeah.
And body and time. I mean, look at Mike Jordan.
Oh, my
look
God.
At Mike. Yeah, this cat, the people said, man, that Negro can fly. I don't know how he do what he do. And Mike is the same thing on his boxing tip, man. It's another level of athleticism. And it's a kind of intelligence, man. It's bodily intelligence.
That's a good way to put it. And whatever LeBron James does on the basketball court is not just physical. It's deeply and highly intellectual. His brain is a machine. And so I try to learn lessons from it. I also just try to escape. I still ain't learned handball yet, though, man. I'm going to have to learn that. That way I can challenge you one day.
It's a sweet sport, brother. Let me tell you, it's a sweet sport.
Look, I'm going to train for like 6
Thank
months.
You for
I ain't going
using
to tell you.
Love you, brother.
Goodbye.
Love you too, man. On the move, everybody. Yeah, I just wanted to have a little bit of a light conversation. I know some of y'all like, these Negroes ain't talking about nothing today. It's not that, y'all. It's that, Mumia has been on death row for much of his life, and now he's sitting in a cell facing life. And sometimes we want to talk sports. Sometimes we want to talk music. Sometimes we want to just relax, And I want to make sure y'all get to see another side of Mumia. Y'all don't just see the serious political intellectual, but you also see somebody that laughs and jokes and has fun and talks trash, So that story has to be told as well, so y'all really understand who this brother is. Anyway, y'all, you can check out all the episodes across the wide range of topics that we discuss. All you got to do is go to the Classroom and the Cell podcast site. It's right there on Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, just go to YouTube, type Marc Lamont Hill in. You can find the Classroom and the Cell podcast. You get all of our episodes. You can also check out all the other content on the channel, which runs the gamut of pop culture to politics to radical organizing, but it's all centered around radical love, political education, and justice. So make sure you check it all out. If you're so inclined, hit that like button, please, so the algorithms on YouTube know that you're rocking with us. Hit, of course, that subscribe button and that little bell to the right so you can get regular updates from when we put content out. And if you're so inclined, hit the join button. Become a monthly subscriber to the channel. It makes life not just easier in terms of building, but it also allows us to sustain the staff we have to edit footage, to build a studio, and to produce all the content that you listen to on the channel. And if you don't want to go through YouTube, you can sidestep that. Just go to Cash App, hit $MLHTV. Again, $MLHTV, and drop us wherever you feel is appropriate. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. On the move.